Well, another week, another major news story related to UFOs. The New York Times is reporting about the contents of a soon-to-be-released Pentagon investigation into the UFO mystery.
Yeah, the Times says the report to Congress will leave open the question of whether some UFOs are indeed alien spacecraft. George Knapp has our story.
The initial New York Times headline declared government finds no evidence UFOs are alien spacecraft, then clarified things in a later headline that added the government can't rule out alien tech either. A more accurate headline could have been, Pentagon says we don't know what UFOs are. Or, the real news in the story, Pentagon says UFOs are not secret American technology. Unnamed officials who've seen a classified report not yet provided to Congress told the Times the report analyzes 120 UFO incidents from over the past 13 years. Much of the evidence was previously compiled into a briefing document produced by the UAP task force, a report that includes startling images of craft considered to be true unknowns. A few images and videos from that report have already been made public by Mystery Wire and filmmaker Jeremy Corbell. Photos taken by Navy pilots off the East Coast and videos recorded by the Navy off the West Coast. Unknown objects that surrounded 9 warships in July 2019.
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA.
2 other incidents evaluated by the UAP task force, the so-called Gimbal UFO event off Florida in 2015 and the Tic Tac incident off Southern California in 2004. The Times says the unreleased report leaves open the question of whether the amazing technology might belong to a foreign adversary. David FRAVOR, the pilot who chased the Tic Tac, shared his opinions with us in 2019.
If you'd have asked me in 2004, I didn't know. My thing is, it's now almost 15 years later, and that technology is still, no one has figured it out or no one has seen it. You can hide stuff for a long time, but hiding stuff for 15 years I think it gets harder and harder.
If the Times story is accurate, then the upcoming UFO report will be amazingly similar to this assessment written by an American general back in 1947, which basically said these things are real, but we don't know whose they are. The biggest news in the Times story is that the report essentially will rule out the possibility that secret American military tech is responsible for the most notable UFO incidents.
Splash.
Former Nevada Senator Reid, who co-sponsored the predecessor program to the UAP task force, has said all along that the Russians and Chinese are also studying the UFO mystery for the same reason we are, meaning they're not ours. Lue Elizondo, who spent 10 years as head of the AATIP UFO investigation, says the technology seen by U.S. pilots is beyond anything known on Earth. He told Mystery Wire the U.S., Russia, and China are all in the same boat.
It's rotating.
We may be dealing with something here that we really don't understand, because if we're having the same problem that Russia is in other countries, then chances are this is this is a topic that is of mutual concern and interest for more than just the United States. In fact, it would paint a picture that this is not a U.S. phenomenon at all, but this is rather a global phenomenon.
The UAP report is due in Congress by June 25th. What we don't know yet is what access the task force had to classified files and materials stashed in dark corners of the Pentagon or CIA. After 70 years of secrecy, did the task force crack that veil in a mere 6 months? Retired intelligence officer Colonel John Alexander doubts it.
Well, I think there's 2 issues. The most serious pushback you're not going to see. That's going to happen behind the curtain, if you will. That's where they say, hell no, we won't go. I'm not going to provide the data.
George Knapp, 8 News Now.
Well, George adds that the biggest difference between the upcoming UFO report and previous statements provided by the Pentagon is that the military is no longer being dismissive of UFOs or trying to brush them off as swamp gas or weather balloons.